welcome back to another explainer. Today, we're diving into something absolutely fascinating, the Taishang Laojun Guanjing. It's a bit of a mouthful, I know, but it roughly translates to the Supreme Laozi's scripture of internal observation. And let me tell you, this foundational Taoist text is a total game changer for how we view our own existence. We're not just dusting off ancient history here. We're unpacking a highly structured, step-by-step manual for understanding human consciousness and literally finding absolute inner stillness. Let's get right into it. So let's kick things off with a massive question drawn straight from the text. Where does our consciousness actually come from, and why do we suffer? I mean, we live in a world packed with distractions, stress, endless desires, and yeah, it gets overwhelming, right? Well, the ancient author of the scripture looked at that exact same human condition and realized something crucial. To fix the external chaos, we first have to map out our internal reality. Section 1, the microcosm and the 10-month gestation. You know, ancient Taoists viewed human gestation as this literal, step-by-step physical and spiritual formation. It's an incredible blend of biology and the metaphysical. In months 1 and 2, we get the biological condensing of essence, blood, and the embryo. But by months 3 and 4, that's when the cosmic forces enter the chat. The Yang spirit forms the 3 heavenly souls, enabling movement and life. Then, the Yin spirit forms the 7 earthly souls, anchoring us and bringing stillness. And by month 5, the fundamental 5 elements of the universe actually settle within to stabilize these spirits. As development continues into months 6 through 10, the physical body becomes fully equipped to house the spirit. It's this beautifully numbered progression. 6 cosmic pitches nourish the spirit, 7 orifices open up to allow light and perception, 8 divine spirits descend, and by month 9, internal palaces, which are basically our vital organs, are perfectly arranged to store our life essence. Finally, at month 10, the qi, or vital energy, is full. The 10,000 forms are complete. You aren't just born, you are literally a completed universe ready to experience the world. Moving on to Section 2, the body is a shrine. Now this is where it gets really mind-bending. The text literally maps human anatomy directly to the cosmos, showing that we hold the entire universe inside us. Your eyes? They aren't just for seeing. They're the sun and the moon of your inner world. Your hair represents the stars in the night sky. Your brows form a protective celestial canopy. And your head represents Kulun Mountain, the mythical axis connecting heaven and earth. This completely shifts how you see yourself. You're not just some small, insignificant being. You are a grand, majestic structure. Furthermore, the scripture visualizes specific deities residing right inside our organs and extremities, making sure the body is never empty of spirit. Now, don't think of these as literal little people sitting inside you. Think of them as personified energetic forces governing your vital functions. Tai Yi governs the upper realm in the head. Ximing manages life force from the heart. Others guard your left, right, and your center at the navel. The big takeaway here? Every single inch of your biological form is infused with divine, purposeful energy. So, looking at this incredible internal structure leads us to a highly practical question. If the body is a vast universe, complete with its own sun, moon, stars, and spiritual governors, who exactly sits on the throne? Who is the ultimate ruler of this inner cosmos? Which brings us to Section 3. The ruler of all, the mind. The scripture defines the mind, or sin in Chinese, not just as a physical organ pumping blood, but as a formless, ever-changing ruler capable of restricting and directing the body. It conceptually associates the mind with the element of fire, the southern direction, and envisions it shaped like a 3-petal red lotus. And this force, it is incredibly powerful. The text points out that if you control the mind, it behaves perfectly and righteously. But if you let it run wild, it becomes utterly chaotic and destructive. We also have to understand the text's definition of the Tao. It emphasizes that you cannot cultivate the Tao without strictly cultivating the mind. The Tao is the ultimate, formless truth of the universe. It's unmeasurable, it's transformative. But here is the secret of the scripture. You can't see the Tao out there in the external world. It is only accessed and obtained through the mind. Teaching someone to cultivate the Tao is exactly the same thing as teaching them to cultivate their own mind. And to explain this, the text uses this beautiful, vivid metaphor. It says the spirit relies on the mind, exactly like a glowing light relies on fire, a wick, and oil. Think about it. For a room to be illuminated, the light needs a flame, the flame needs a wick, the wick needs oil, and the oil needs a lamp to hold the whole shebang. If any one of those elements is missing, poof, the light goes out. In that exact same way, your divine spirit relies completely on the stability of your mind, and your physical body relies completely on its connection to the Tao. That leads us to Section 4, the six senses and the root of suffering. According to the text, we are all born pure and quiet, but our senses quickly start craving worldly things, polluting our original nature. Our eyes get greedy for beautiful colors, our ears get addicted to pleasing sounds, our mouth obsesses over rich tastes, our nose over sweet scents, and our physical body is constantly seeking luxury and comfort. And listen, these aren't just harmless preferences. They're the very things that drag the ruler, our mind, right out of its palace and down into the chaotic streets. Let's walk through the exact chain reaction here. Unchecked senses breed consciousness, which creates desires, leading to delusions and ultimately the loss of the Tao. This is literally the architecture of human suffering. The senses gather data, sparking subjective consciousness. Suddenly, we're making distinctions. We love this, we absolutely hate that. This creates intense desire and attachment. We get tangled up in these delusions, and before we know it, we're endlessly suffering, totally disconnected from that pure, quiet Tao we were born with. To drive this home, the scripture uses a heavy, vivid metaphor. It compares a distracted mind to an ox sinking hopelessly into the mud. Think about the sheer weight of that image. The ox is pulling the heavy cart of its worldly attachments, its love of money, status, sensory pleasure, and the harder it pulls, the deeper it sinks into the mud of the material world. Eventually, it's completely trapped, unable to free itself until the very end of its life. That, right there, is the fate of a mind ruled by the senses. So, how do we get out of the mud? Section 5, the path of internal observation. To purify the self, the text prescribes specific mental states, and it's all about subtraction, not addition. You achieve an empty mind by systematically removing your attachment to material things. You achieve a fixed mind by stopping restless movement and frantic activity. You get to a quiet mind by actively preventing internal chaos, and a pure mind by filtering out the turbid, dirty influences of the outside world. Ultimately, the core practice of Neigan, or internal observation, means looking inward with such intense focus that all those worldly desires and distracting thoughts just vanish. You close your eyes, you shut off the external data pouring in from those greedy senses, and you just observe your inner workings. You watch the mind until the chaotic thoughts literally run out of energy and fade away. You're creating a state of absolute unshakable stillness inside and out. And in that pristine state, the Tao naturally returns to reside within you. Let's wrap up with Section 6. All methods boil down to the mind. The scripture hits us with a pretty tough sequential truth here. Discovering the Tao is only the first step. Fiercely protecting and keeping it, that's the ultimate challenge. Think about it. Intellectual knowledge is cheap. Knowing the path is easy. Genuinely believing it is harder. Actually putting it into practice is harder still. But the true peak of difficulty is maintaining that pure, empty state of mind day after day, without letting your senses drag you right back into the mud. Keeping it requires relentless vigilance. This crucial point is perfectly captured in Laozi's powerful concluding realization. Every single method of enlightenment boils down to mastering your own mind. And I love how the author humbles himself here. He basically says, look, I am not a magical sage. I just learned how to do this. You could read thousands of books, you could try tens of thousands of complex techniques or rituals, but at the end of the day, there is only one variable that actually matters: your mind. Control the mind, and you master the universe. So, I want to leave you with a final thought to reflect on today. If your mind is an entire universe, complete with its own sun, stars, and reigning sovereign, and if it is the solitary key to ultimate peace, what kind of world are you actively building inside it today? Are you letting the senses fill your universe with noise and mud? Or are you practicing internal observation to keep your inner cosmos pristine, quiet, and aligned with the truth? Thanks so much for exploring this fascinating ancient framework with me today. See you next time on The Explainer.